moving on to the next award. So we've got Young Footballer of the Year. So this would be the award for somebody that's relatively young, because a lot of ours, this is a lot of people for our squad that is a young player. And we've gone for, we're looking at a player that has come in and is kind of similar to what we're saying, like a really improved player, or has hit the ground and exceed the expectations almost as a young player. So I'd just like to hand over to you, Ant. Who do you think you would nominate as your Young Footballer of the Year?
I know sort of the majority of the votes and stuff are going to go towards Harvey Barnes and stuff because he's loved by all our fans. But I think people still forget how young Maddison is and sort of how influential and stuff he's been on a lot of our performances before he's got injured. So if we're going by sort of Young Player of the Year by the Premier League rules that you can be 24, I would say James Maddison, because he's been absolutely brilliant. I know he hasn't got that many assists and stuff because he's played a bit deeper, but anyone who watches Leicester will realise how important and how crucial he is to our team.
Sounds good. James, over to you. What do you think of who would you nominate for your Young Footballer of the Year?
I think Maddison's a good shout. For me, James Justin came from Luton, didn't really play much, was using the cup games, but then all of a sudden Ricky gets injured and all of a sudden he's thrown into that position. And for me, he's kind of done what he needed to do. Yes, he's made mistakes, he's young, but for me, he's improved. And for me, he is the Young Player of the Year because he's done so well in such a small space of time, whereas Maddison was already established in the first team.
Yeah, I agree there that a lot of these players that we were looking at for Young Footballer of the Year are players that would kind of hit the ground this season. So I'd agree Maddison is a good example of it. And it's always going to be hard because we've got so many young players, and that's kind of our team at the moment, is this young up-and-coming talent that's going to eventually in a few years rise to the top and play for their countries kind of thing. But I agree with James. Bearing in mind we've got the three nominations for us. We had Kelechi Iheanacho, Luke Thomas and James Justin. And so Twitter and I agree as well. James Justin got 56% of the votes. Luke Thomas got 14 and Kelechi Iheanacho got 30%. So it was tight, but I think James Justin, as for the things that you mentioned already, coming in to replace Ricardo, which is looking at probably one of the players of the season in that position. And if he would have stayed fit, would have been probably up there as the best, challenging Trent Alexander-Arnold as that right back position as one of the best in the league and possibly the world. So to slip into that position at 19, 20 years old, to then come through and take on players such as Greenwood and Martial and the other Man United players. I remember when he was playing in the back three, he was outstanding, and he was playing in all sorts of games in a right wing position, in a right back position, and he just looked fantastic. So I'd agree as well. I'd give that award for the Young Footballer of the Year to James Justin.